understand that you need to come closer to somebody, that you need to give a little bit attention to somebody to motivate them. And that's what we have to say today, that we want you to have faith on other people. And before we say anything, what is faith according to a Christian? What is faith? According to Hebrews 11:1, it states that faith is a substance of things hoped for, evidence of things not seen. So that's our definition of faith. And because we have dealt with it over and over, I will not go in and give you more example about that. But I'll tell you that faith is so key in your life and the keys of others. Why? Because Hebrews 11:6 states, but without faith it is impossible to please him. For he who comes to God must believe that he is, and that he is a rewarder of those who diligently seek him. So we want to build your faith, because in this kingdom, the kingdom that you're supposed to shine, you won't do much without faith. You won't accomplish anything without faith. Therefore, if you want to be that person that will have a lot of rewards in heaven, you have to understand that even to be able to be recognized in this world, you have to have faith in yourself. You have to have faith, I am well able. I am above everything that I'm supposed to be above. Therefore, little things, you will be way above. Like Apostle said, like everything you see under is because you are in their level. We will continue to soar higher and higher if you have that faith. You cannot do it because if you don't have faith, you will limit yourself in the eye level. To go higher, you need that faith. Therefore, to get to where Apostle always say, be above the KICC, you have to have faith. Right? And God knew that people will ask God, can we see you at least helping somebody have faith? You know, God himself told Abraham, come outside, look towards heaven, and count the stars. If you are able to number them, and he said, so shall you descended be. Why was Jesus doing this? Wanted to make sure that he is believing. He doesn't have the children now, but he was wanting Abraham to believe this is what you will become. When we are trying to put faith in somebody, it's saying this is who you are now, but this is who you can become if you only have faith. Faith is something that is not visible, but faith is so great that it can move every mountain in this world. Whatever mountain you are facing, with faith, you are able to move it. And that's why we are becoming and saying, let's look into this faith. We start this chapter of, because we are doing this, Becoming a Person of Influence is John Maxwell book. And we are looking into chapter by chapter, just looking into what he's saying. And that's why we did the first two, and I talked about the first two. Now we are on the third chapter, which says, now, faith in people. And the chapter starts very well with the story of Niagara Falls. I believe those who have visited the site will be amazed by how wonderful and how God is so creative to have built such a wonderful site. It's a sight that when you look at it, you are amazed and mesmerized on what God has done in the environment for us to enjoy. There are like 12 million cubic water that flows within a minute. It comes from 180 feet, and the width is like 3,100 feet. And we were told that there was somebody in early 1824 to 1897 called Charles Brandon. He was able, with a string tied, like a rope tied on that side of Canadian border and this side of American border, and he will walk. To me, coming close to that age is scary enough. And I can believe if it was scary to me, I believe it is a lot scary to most people. Now, look at this. That person was able to have faith for himself to walk from this side of Canadian border to American side. He will walk on that rope. He did it blindfolded. He did it with a wheelbarrow. And he did it with somebody, carrying somebody on his back. If that's not amazing, I don't know what amazing that is. And that, when I visited and the first encounter I was told about that story, what came to my mind is what I was told long time ago when I was listening to my grandfather give story, and they were saying, Nganoshia irimu. Like, those things, I don't think they ever existed. Because how can that happen, right? But, of course, we are given the year now, when he was born and when he died. And you are given the date, the year he did his first tightrope walking. And I was like, that's a human with faith that I can't even know. That I can believe and have faith in this string that it will hold me to walk back and forth. And then, that's not enough. I have faith to tell somebody to walk on my back. All I know that if I have to carry somebody on my back to walk along that, then for real, they have faith in me too. They have to have faith in me for them to walk. They have understood me. For them to put their lives in my hands, I know and I'm sure that they have what it takes to do what they have stated that they will do. And for him to get there, he must have sat somewhere, watched that gentleman, go back, looked at him, was amazed, looked at him again, and said, if history will be written, I also want to be written that I also did this. Although we don't know his name, but we know that he accompanied him to do that great act of work. When people have faith in you, it's not a coincident thing. It's something that you build over time. People will watch you. People will hear what you say about them. People will continually, when a father and a mother and the children are watching, the children take time to learn their mother, to learn their father. And that's why you understand them. You understand there are things they will come to their father, and there are things they will come to their mother. Because they distinguish and they have faith. If I go to this one with this, it will be done. If I go to this one with this, it will be accomplished. They are acting, they have that faith. They have built that faith. Whether you like it, you have shown them who you are, and from there they have gathered and learned that faith. So when they come to you or they don't come to you, know it's what you have really been planting, and they have learned to trust to the extent of what they can come to tell you or what they can tell you. I hope and pray that our children will look at to us and say that I want to be Jesus' follower because I have seen that this kingdom is true and for real, and my Father has shown me the way, and this is a good way. I will never depart from it. I hope when they see us, they don't see as a drama that we come and perform here on Sunday, and then we go out, it's totally different thing. Because that will not work. We have to have people of integrity, and we have to continue having to model so that they can have faith in our God. Amen? Amen. Some facts about faith. Believe it or not, that most people don't have faith in themselves. We see each other, but once you give few people, pick 100 people at random, and try to tell them, do you do this? You will see somebody saying, no, I don't do that. Here's another one. No, it's not. It's because they don't have faith in themselves. Right? And that tells you, me and you as a leader, that we need to help them build faith in themselves. And that's why we have this class, that we want to tell you that when you see that, that's not an opportunity that you let go. You now pray to know the ways to get to them in a way that you will bring them to have faith in them. Why? Because without faith, know that they are not doing things that they are supposed to be doing. They can be on a higher level of doing things, but because they don't have enough faith in themselves, they are not doing what they are supposed to do. So you can lift somebody up because you understand them, that whenever that happens, if you are a genuine friend, think about it. Don't do it in front of them, but have time to go back and help them grow. And that's a challenge to you at your workplace or other areas. Whenever you see people that are withdrawing from assignment, ask them why in a nicer way and help them mature to that level that you want them to mature. There are many reasons why people might not trust themselves. The attribute of their personal traits, right? And there are people who are just, they feel like they were born shy. The environment helped them to be shy. The environment did not help them because they say it's traits, but that they are supposed to be like inherited. This kind of way of doing things, or just past experience. But regardless, we are the leaders. We need to help them come out of them and be who God called to be. And we have talked that whenever these people will do different things to accommodate that, they will try to overproduce something or overdo something to hide so that they don't do their right task. They will have difficulty maintaining relationships, and why? It's because they are so geared, they don't have faith that I can even handle this relationship. Every relationship will start in a very small way, but as people communicate and build each other, they continue to build and build faith. But when you have somebody who has difficulty even having relationship, then how do you help them? You have to start establishing that faith in them that they are well capable, because God who created them is faithful and they have a great assignment. By you just starting to tell them about them and helping them know that there is another force, they will move, and they will be movers and shakers of this world. Miraculously, things expect them to happen. And that's why we were told in Matthew 17, 15 to 17 states, the Lord have mercy on my son, for his epic, for suffer severely. For he often falls into fire and often into water. So I brought him to your disciples, but they could not cure him. And Jesus said, answered and said, "O faithless and perverse generation, how long shall I be with you? How long shall I bear with you? Bring him here to me." So we see, even on our faith, what we are saying, like we need revival. If we don't have faith, there are things that will pass us by. There are things that we are not going to be able to do because of lack of faith. But when you have people, when you believe in people, they will do the impossible in their life. And that is there when Jesus said, now Jesus said to them, because of your unbelief, for assuredly I say to you, if you have faith as mustard seed, you will say to this mountain, move from here to there, and it will move, and nothing will be impossible for you. However, this kind does not go out except for prayers and fasting. So again, if you look there, meaning, if you look those two parts, you have to have faith, and also you have to be nurtured. When 21 comes in, I look at it as a way of nurturing. When you communicate and always have to go before our Father in heaven in prayers, you are having a conversation and you are praying and fasting and you are in unison. And God is depositing something in you that is great, that will be able, now he will be nurturing you. Now you'll be nurtured in the Holy Spirit, and in this sense, you will have faith that will move mountains. But, see, they all come together. You have to have faith, and you have also to be able to understand that you have to have the nurturing spirit. So that is one, that most people don't believe, don't have faith in themselves. The second one is that people don't have someone who has faith in them. And this is something that is an eye-opener maybe to many, that when a family is well knitted together, once they reason together and they are able to support one another, I used to see when I was growing up, our family used to be so neat. We used to have our monthly meeting in our shosho's place. And all of us, whether they were the rich, the poor, everybody came. This monthly meeting was able to help us understand that we are family and we need to work together. So as we communicated that afternoon or whatever, year after year, I have seen that the same force that was started by my grandmother is the same that goes on today in that blog. And I can attest to you, the other side that didn't have anything to do with oneness, they are having difficulties even communicating. That this side is well programmed and have great, tremendous achievement. If you want a lawyer, they are there. If you want pastors, they are there. If whoever you want in this side, you can find. On the other side, it's dying off. Why? It's not that they were the most richest, they had more money than the other side. But there was no oneness. So people never had the time to feel like or be ushered in that we have faith in you to do great things. On the other side, they were not rich, but they had the faith of understanding and saying, we are in this together, so by us having oneness, we will conquer anything. And for that, we build faith for each other. So that is how faith will affect this generation and will affect us for a long time if our church today don't have people who can tell people, no matter what is going on, we have faith that you will make it. That we have faith that you will conquer. That we have faith that who God ordained you, this is not you. You have better life ahead of you. And in oneness, we can be able to thrive and make what was a mountain something that is not a mountain anymore. And we are told, like, when we were given an example in the book about evangelist Bill Grass, noted that 90% of the prison inmates were told by their parents while growing up that they are going to jail. They were, I'm going to put you in jail. That's the statement that they were hearing. I'm going to put you in jail. Instead of teaching their children to believe in themselves, they were telling them what? I'll put you in jail. And now 90% of them are in jail. Why? Because instead of building faith, they were building something else. They were building doubt in themselves. Am I able to hold that great position in Coca-Cola? Am I able to be a physician? Am I able to hold this? But all they were told is where they will go, and that was jail. So they end up getting in jail. Why? Because that's where their faith or what they were being built to go. By you declaring, we talked about the power of your words. There is a spirit that will fight for that destiny. Unless you cancel it, you will always have people going to that destiny. So have faith that people can do great things and have faith in them. Most people can tell when someone has faith in them. So when your children are looking at you, they can sense, they have an instinct that is very alert, and they can sense a genuine faith in someone. And this faith can change their lives. And we have dealt with this and said, when people realize you don't have faith in them, they lose hope. They lose hope. And there's nothing as bad as people coming to us as leaders, and then instead of us building hope, we give them something that is hopeless. So be careful when you're talking to people. Give them hope instead of hopelessness. Don't show how difficult things are. Just tell them, because God is on the throne, is seated there, He's able to do everything and everything if we trust in Him. Let's build And we have a case here that on the book about Robert Schuller, a pastor of Crystal Cathedral in Gardens Grove, California. And his story is about his uncle who had been a missionary in China and came over, and when he encountered him at the gate, the way he embraced him in a way, and in a big smile, were laughing. His hair said to him, "Well, I guess you are Robert. I think you are going to be a preacher someday." That night, I prayed, secretary, and dear God, make me a preacher when I grow up. I believe that God made me a possibility thinker then and there. So we can see this is a young boy whose uncle come to visit. Is not even their dad. It's not somebody that he sees every day. And out of the encounter, he prays to God that from those words, yes, I agree with those words, and I want to become a preacher. And he believed from that day, the possibility thinker, creativity mind started there and then. So we can say that his uncle was convinced him to the call to be who God called him to be. So the words of his uncle came the right time that ushered him to his real calling in God, in ministry. So when you encounter people, trust me or not, you might end up sending them where they are supposed to be or sending them where they are supposed not to be. And so every time, the faith that you are building in them is what they are becoming. So the positive attitude that he encountered was so impactful that, look at it this way. I come to you with a lot of love, a lot of energy, and I'm talking to you in a way you understand from my heart that there is nothing I am leaving behind, but wanting you to be successful and to thrive. For that, because you sense my heart is a clear heart with clear conscience, you're gonna go to do what I have asked you to do. Because you are told people are able to sense. So this boy was able to sense and understand. My uncle heart was clean. My uncle can only dream of big things about me. So on this occasion, I will pursue what he has asked me to do. In other words, he started building that faith of becoming. The faith was started be built. Yes, you are young. Yes, I can see you are so young. And instead of saying they will decide for themselves, you are calling what God has called in them. May God help us to have the discernment so that we can call what God wants us to call that person to become. For him to be a successful pastor, it was called, and he had faith, and he started admiring to become somebody who will have an impact. So when we work in this church and when we go out to the community, may we become someone who positively impact others rather than someone who admire simply for their abilities of influence to others. So what am I saying? That may you have the urge to impact others a positive way, rather than people just admiring that you are an influencer, but you are not really impacting their lives. You know? So you are there at conference. You can influence people to come here, park the whole place, but once you leave, there's no impact. May God help us to have a heart that will impact others. We will be able to have that heart that will open to them so that they can be impacted and build faith, that their faith will continue to build and they will bring multiplication effect in the kingdom. The other one is most people will do anything to live up to your faith in them. And, in this story, when I was looking at it, and I was trying to understand where can we find this in the Bible? Where can we find that people will live up to the expectation of the faith that you have in them? And I couldn't but come to looking into and realizing that when God had an encounter with Apostle Paul was somewhere in the other kingdom, was persecuting the church. But God had faith in him. And as we continue to look, we'll see, instead of God having, in this, let me just read the first thing. People tend to arise to meet the expectation you have of them. When you express skepticism and doubt in others, they will return your lack of confidence with mediocrity. So when you give them lack of confidence, they will return that with mediocrity work. If you believe in them and expect them to do well, they will go an extra mile trying to do what you have commissioned them to do best. Right? In the process, you all benefit. In the process, you are all benefiting. People who believe in the ability of others do more, and they end up stimulating them. They create an atmosphere in which it becomes easier to succeed. And let's look at this. So I was saying, when God got the encounter with Apostle Paul was in another kingdom, was coming and persecuting Christians. And he was thinking that he was doing the right thing, but in real sense, he was doing the very opposite. But God had faith, and he had faith in him. We can see Ananias had worry about him. He had all this, we can say that he was not, even when God asked him about, when God asked him to go to the house and have the encounter with Paul, he had this to say. And Ananias said, "Lord, I have heard from many about this man, how much harm he has done to your saints in Jerusalem. And here he has authority, from the chief priest to bind all who calls on your name." But the Lord said to him, "Go, for he is a chosen vessel of mine to bear my name before Gentiles, kings, and their children, and the children of Israel. I will show him how many things he must suffer for my name's sake." So, this is God's expectation about Apostle Paul. That he's a chosen vessel, that he will bear my name before Gentiles, kings, and the children of Israel. Right? This is a great expectation that Paul was expected by God to fulfill. And you ask, why am I saying the expectation? This is the expectation of God about you, to have greatness. He has laid, just like he laid down for Apostle Paul, the same vision, how great and impactful you will become. But sometimes we have stated that we don't have faith in ourselves. The only way we can achieve this is when somebody else, instead of doubting us, the person will come and do what God has stated they will do. So they have to have a partner. The partner cannot, even though Ananias was saying, was having that conversation and was doubtful, but once God told him the mission of Paul, he never questioned about him anymore. But he did what God expected him to do. And we can see that that's exactly what God wants us to be. People can come in with a lot of doubt. We also can be able to doubt them. But instead of us feeding them the doubt, we listen to our Lord, hear what he says about them, and we communicate our faith based on what God is saying, not based on our level. Get me? So we can come and based on what we have seen in the media and all this, we have different view of what they are able to do. They are able to do. But if we have faith, when we meet them and state that, okay, we understand you in this level, but because God, our God, has made you to come to Christ Harvesters, now you are a Christ Harvesters member. Christ Harvesters believe in God who is able to do what no man can do. He is able to change your circumstances and your environment to be able to be a vessel of great use in this church and in the kingdom. So from that perspective, we are giving them hope that they can be able to ride above and anything else that we can see. The same. So when we see people, let us try to look at them, yes, know where they are, let's have a conversation with God, and let us come in and ask God to help us to know their mission and to know their assignment so that we can be able to task them and help them thrive to that assignment. Okay? Because only that will be able to build faith, will be able to build each other. And when we do that, we'll make them more energized. We'll make them more self-reliant. We'll be able to motivate them to be their own, and they will be able to succeed in this life. And instead of telling them everything else, when you give people hope and faith, and they are able to have faith in you, they do the unbelievable, what you can't think. The reason why you are doing so well today, those people maybe who have come from Kenya or otherwise, it's because when you only had limited resources, but what did you have more than those limited resources? You had faith that once I land in that country, I'll be able to do A, B, C, D, whatever. And for that, that faith was more valuable than the money that you came in with. Because with faith, you are able to now say, I'm able to do this, I'm able to do this, I'm able to take this. And you geared, because of the faith, you are able to say, I would go to school and become this. And you became that. You are able to say, I will be an owner of a company, LLC, whatever. You became that because you had faith. It's not amount of money. I could have given you, you can give you a lot of money, but the money will be wasteful. But if we give you faith, we give you a media that will be able to transact things that you will conquer and nobody else will think you could have conquered. That's why when we say, if you have faith as small as mustard seed, it will move mountain. Why? Because it's the same thing. You came from Kenya with limited resources, but you had faith to do great things. And you have been doing great things since then. And you have found people here who had all what you can call for. They have good language speaking capability. They are all rounded with knowledge. But because you have faith and you are able to have faith that I will be able to do this, you leave them when they have all that. And then when you leave them, they will say that you have come to take over. You know why? It's because of that faith. So whoever planted that faith in you, may he continue to be blessed because he gave you something that was more noble than the money. So if your parents, when you are coming, gave you hope, even telling you, like, you will be the one who will get us from this location to that, that was hope building. If they gave you this, you are the one who will get us to drive our fast car, that was hope building. They had high expectation of you. You see, they were able to say, you can be able to go to school and go to the university. That's hope building. If you see somebody here and they are like, oh, their tune is not right, but you tell them, you are able to sing even better. And you'll be able to sing and people will be, be moved by the skills that you acquired. You are giving them faith. And that's what we are called by people of God to do. Give people faith. Let them come in, but when they leave, let them have faith. Build faith so that when the people of our generation will depend on the faith that we'll build to build the next generation. Faith is a belief in action. So, on this case, I will go with his story and I'll give him just what was all about. It was an encounter with a shopkeeper and the man came in and wanted some credit. And the question was, are you fencing in or are you fencing out? That's the lingo that they used to talk, and the man said, I'm fencing in. What that meant was that the man now has trust in himself that he is going to do more, that he trusts that the project that he's doing will materialize. And for that, he got the credit. And so that's why because that's how the shopkeeper will give people the credit with. And that today, we have to fill all this, your credit scores and all that. The shopkeeper had few questions. Are you fencing in? Are you fencing out? And he said, I'm fencing in. So he was told, just go behind, your credit is approved. The same thing. The trust that you have in people is what's going to move you to the next level. The more faith you have in yourself, the more confidence you have, the more you'll be able to get out there and achieve. So the faith is a substance that we cannot be in a position to lose. We have to have faith. And there is a statement by Raphael Waldo Emerson stating that trust men and they will be true to you. Treat them greatly, and they will show themselves great. Become a believer in people, and even the more become a believer in people, and even the most tentative and inexperienced people can bloom right before your eyes. So, the people that you look and you're like, oh no, I don't think they can make anything. Believe in them. Have faith in them. And they will do marvelous. So, in our walk of faith, know that the more faith you have in people, the more you are enabling them to achieve that what is impossible. We will continue to look on how to become, on how to help ourselves, on how to equip others to believe in themselves. And we are using the word believe. Just like believe, we are using the word believe. And the first B states believe in them before they believe they succeed. Before they succeed, you believe in them. Emphasis on their strength, the E. List their past experience, successes. List their past success. Instill confidence when they fail. Experience some wins together. Visualize their future success and expect a new level of living. So we'll go through those, and then we'll call it a class, because I believe those will be great points. And before we go anywhere or anything, or if you feel like you have something to add, so it wouldn't be monologue, and have any question before we get into things that will help us believe on others. You have anything to add, participate, or say something? Pastor Tabitha, are you asleep? I might have worried. Holy. Anybody? Okay. Oh. Thank you for your service. Well treasured. And okay, let's go to the other one. And I believe for us to make sure that these classes, we put more into it. We have a lot of things to say. This is just a way of making sure that we are able to follow what we want to talk. But in real sense, we have more than this. But because of time or another thing, we are not able to go deep and deep and deep and bring all this to the light that we want it to be. So it's not the fault of you, but we need to start these classes right on when we say we need to start them, because that's the only way we'll be able to help ourselves get to where we need to. So we'll run through this because we only have like 12 minutes. So I'll try as much not to put a lot of emphasis, but just to say a little bit one thing or another. Believe in them before they succeed. Everybody, and the reason why we are going through this is because not all of us have come from the same background. So we are all not able to say that this is just common language, common knowledge. So why are we going through this? This is, some people have trouble believing on others. They because of the background that we have come from, different backgrounds, different things that have happened, we are not able to trust that easily. And that's why we have to come in and pull this class so that we can be able to say, believe in people before they succeed. Why? Because when you succeed and you're doing very well, everybody already will believe in you. People will come in and will say good stuff about you and will give you everything that you are supposed to. But the person who we really are geared to challenge is the person who has not been able to come out of their little, they are still there. We can say that they are able to, I'm going to see something, metamorphosis. Like they're still in their cocoon and they can come better and become great people, but they haven't opened up yet. So we need to start putting great demands on them so that they can be able to come and believe in them, so that they can become who God wanted them to be. Give them hope so that they can become what God wanted them to become. When someone is starting out, it can be challenging to believe in them. But once they start succeeding, everyone will love them, including themselves. So that even themselves, because they did not trust they can, so even in themselves, now I clapping and saying, I am good, I feel great. So we have to remember there is no hopeless situation. And there are only men and women who grow hopeless about them. It's only men and women who grew up hopeless about them. Therefore, if somebody had to be there and encourage them, there will be no hopeless situation. So when you see people who are hopeless, know that there's somebody who did not do their job, and that's why that situation is hopeless. And that's why we pray that in our hands and in our environment, that there will be none of us who will be hopeless. All of us will mature to be who God wanted us to become. Because everybody is a seed. In them, there's a seed of greatness. And even though you might not currently see it, it's dominant. But if you only water it and give it a chance to grow, you'll be amazed. Your faith in them is that watering, is that, believing in them, and they will become what God has given them to be. So we are saying every time you put faith in them, you are giving them life-sustaining water, warmth, food, and light. And if you continue to encourage them through your belief in them, these people will blossom at one time. So never lose hope. The faith in them is continue watering them over and over and over. There are many things that you can do to help them believe in themselves. Just encouraging, supporting them. Telling them that they are able to achieve more. There is a lot that you can do. Being there. And if you look on Apostle Paul, he was watered, I believe, by Ananias the first time they got together, because he was told, when you go there, they will tell you what to do. And when we come to verse, I believe, 19, you can see that he was preaching. Why? Because they had told him what to do. And then when we come to what we normally read and what we normally quote, our great verse about 1 Corinthians 15, 10, 11, but by grace of God I am who I am, and his grace towards me was not in vain, but I labored more abundantly than they all, yet not I, but the grace of God which was with me. Therefore, whether it was I or they, so we preach, and so you believed. The emphasis is that we can see the watering started right away, because we don't see him going to any school. But after the encounters with Ananias, he started preaching right away. He literally started preaching. So he was told what to do, and he started right away. They started watering him right away, and he grew up to become who God has intended him to become. And he was, he was the apostle that everybody wanted to be, to be acknowledged with. And even in himself, acknowledge, yes, we were able to thrive. Whether I or you, we all thrive. And that's why you believed. So at the end of our faith, when you build people's faith and they become who they are intended to become, both you and them wins. It's a win-win game here. It's not somebody become, because you can see this statement on verse 11, whether it was I or they, so we preached. We preach. We preach. I added ed, sorry. It's so we preach, and so you believed. So the emphasis is on us doing things together, and the emphasis on that was you have to believe in them. God believed in Apostle Paul. Even before he became the great apostle, God believed and was able to help him have people who would water him immediately, and God was not ashamed. And in him believing that Apostle Paul could commit his life and suffer and get through all those things, the kingdom of God has never been the same again. We can see the New Testament, and that's just an attest of what Apostle Paul did. Now, you believing in somebody will also have an impact that probably you would never ever imagine, because things goes around. You attach somebody who will be a pivotal point, will change the world, but it's you who will decide whether to have faith, and your faith will multiply by you activating and helping somebody else who doesn't have faith to enable their faith to continue to grow. Emphasis on their strength. In this type, we'll say this. People have good and bad, but at this time we'll be able just to deal with their strength. Have unconditional support towards them, so that whatever strength they have, they will have faith in themselves that they will be able to do great things in that area. Okay? And this time, when you are doing that, do it in a form of building faith, not in authority figure, right? Make sure you are trying to build faith, not showing that you have power over them or anything of them. List their past successes. In this encounter, we need to tell people, you are able to accomplish this very well. You can also go for great things. If you haven't and you're not able to help people by listing their successes, you need to spend more time with them so that you are able to at least get what they have done well, so that you are able to tell them, we can say when Goliath and David's story, and we can say he would say, now because I was able to kill lion, I was able to kill the bear, I was able to do this, and I see uncircumcised Philistine before me, I'll just do the same thing. I did it. Why? Because I have now been growing my faith, and the little things have built the, now he will call those killing bears and killing the lions little things. Now when I face this mountain, but I know that the force that is backing me is God, I'm able to do the same to him. Little success will build people's faith. Whatever they do good, if they only were able to do algebra and that was, when they come to big statistic stuff, tell them also they can be able to accomplish. When they were able to preach to 10 people, tell them they can preach to 100. Tell them, let them continue to build their faith up so that at no one time they will not feel insignificant. When they fail, we all fail sometimes or another. We have the momentum building up, but the enemy also knows, so he'll make us have a trap, and we sometimes fail. Instead of us saying, you failed because of this and this, let's build faith. Let's give them scenario that at one time we failed, but with our failure, this is what has happened, and this is why we are successful now, right? We will tell them that in all things, we can do everything through our Lord who strengthens us. So falling there, making a mistake here, making a mistake there. We all go through tough times sometimes, but with unquivering support from you, they are able to do great things to keep going and building their faith. So we have some experience, some wins together. In this case, if you are able to do an activity, if you are able to do something with people that will help them build up, whatever you are doing, let them be the leaders. It will be wrong for you, Pastor Lucy, to be the one who is doing things over and over without you ever saying, now it's time for these youths to do it. It's this time for you to do. It's time for you to do it. It will be wrong for us, because once you give them the assignment that you are giving them, that you know for real they will do well, that will build them to do great assignment, and soon they'll be able to do better and better and better and better, and be able to help each other. I just say that because I picked on Pastor Tabitha, and I know you're a great friend, you won't feel offended. Okay. And we'll see when people sense victory. What are you going to do when they feel like you have chosen them and they have succeeded? They sacrifice everything to succeed the next time. They look forward to win. They will be energized. They will follow the game plan next time, because now they trust you, and they will be the team that will always, be there for others. But once we don't let them have this little fruitful when they can, this little assignment that they can succeed, once they feel like every time we don't build them up, when they feel a sense of defeat, they will give up. With little possibility, they give up. They will give excuses. They will become tired. They will forsake the game plan, and they will end up hurting others. And one more to the last will be visualize their future success. We see here, and you are able to understand that sometimes our vision is limited because we have not gone to different places, different things. The more we encounter different people, our vision also changes. The way people have overcome different things, their visualization and hope is now different. Now, the visualization of somebody depend on what they have encountered and the challenges they have gone through. So I understand that because of your level of the leadership that you are able to accomplish much if you are able to enable that person to visualize his vision in maybe when that assignment is fulfilled, what will be the vision, right? Like, like when God said he would be a great vessel of mine, right? He was saying that great vision, and then when Apostle came and accomplished it, and he was able even to himself say, I am who I am, because he had seen what grace had done on his accomplishment. Why? Because God was able to know and raise his faith over and over. And the last one will be expect a new level of living. As an influencer, we know our God has given us grace to have abundance in everything. We are supposed to have more than enough of everything. And the opportunity that we have, we are not able to exhaust them in life. Therefore, inspire people that the level that they are in, they can do better. Yeah? Help them see the availability and the opportunities that are ahead. Help them think big. Right? Help them do what their potential lives can make them achieve. Look at them, understand them, look at the potential in them, and have the faith to drive them to do that what is impossible. And with that, I know I have gone past time, and I will end it there, and I won't add more and more and more because I was trying to get to my points. And may God bless you, may God keep you, and may God continue to thrive you, and may the faith of God continue to build in you so that you will be the vessel God have ordained you to be. Unless somebody has a question, I will call it a class, and thank you so much.